Yeah.
Hopefully, like you said, he's better, and hopefully back Wednesday. If not Wednesday, he's back Friday. That's honestly what I would hope. It just didn't look good, but we'll definitely keep everybody updated via Twitter and other social media once we get an update there from the Ducks, obviously, if you guys don't hear from them first. But let's go ahead and talk about the good news. So Dallas was eliminated today, dude. Cheers to that as the Ducks play them this week. No Dallas in the playoffs. They were in one of my picks to make it into the playoffs for sure and maybe cause some damage, but they get the early exit for slumping this month.
Yeah, they were right into it. Yeah, they were right into it until March, and then they only won 4 games in March, and they lost. I think it was. Let's see, they had 16 games, so they went 4-12 in March. So
that's
not
good.
Yeah, that's not how you get into the playoffs. Their last 3 games are against San Jose, Anaheim, and LA. So it'd be nice if they could beat San Jose and LA, and then just take it easy on us because they play the Kings as their last game against the season. They're still a tough team to face, but I don't know. Because I'm indifferent because I picked them to get into the playoffs too. I thought they were going to be a better team, and really they were until they just had that horrible month and everything really caved in on them, which is unfortunate because up until that point, Klingberg was a guy that was probably the favorite for the Norris. Seguin and Ben and Radulov were one of the better lines in the National Hockey League, and then all of a sudden it just I don't even know because Seguin still has 40 goals and Jamie Benn's still playing well. I think the rest of that team just disappeared. I mean, Jason Spezza has been a ghost all season, and I think their secondary scoring just dried up, and it's very hard to rely. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are very skilled players, but it's hard to rely on just those 2 guys to get it done.
No, it's true. So the interesting thing about them is the Ducks were the ones that eliminated them today by getting the win. Dallas is not going to be in the playoffs. Dallas just beat Minnesota last night 4-1, who's the next team the Ducks are going to play on Wednesday. How do you feel about Minnesota right now? I mean, they're 4-3-3 in their last 10. They just lost Ryan Suter indefinitely. I heard broken fibula, which is a crazy thing to break. The hit didn't look that bad. So hopefully it's not terrible for him, and hopefully he recovers quickly because you don't ever want to see that kind of injury, whether it's on an opposing team or not. But what are you looking at when you see Minnesota right now? Is this a really dangerous team, or is this something the Ducks could easily take advantage of?
I think they're a dangerous team, but it really clips them badly when Ryan Suter's out of the lineup. He's their minutes eater. He's essentially like what Cam Fowler is for the Ducks. Probably plays about 27 to 28 minutes a night. Had 51 points, too, in 78 games. I didn't even know he was doing that well offensively. That's almost a career year for him. If he was still being able to play, obviously it looks like he's done for the foreseeable future. He was 1 point away from a career high, really having a great season. It's tough for them. I mean, it says right now, I don't know how this is possible, but on the Sportsnet app it says he has a fractured fibula is considered day-to-day. So one of those things isn't right, but it's a huge loss for them. I think it makes it a little bit of an easier matchup for the Ducks, but this is still a tough team. We talked about it a lot on the last show when we were previewing the games coming up. They've still got Eric Stahl, Mikael Granlund, Zucker, Niederreiter. They've got a lot of guys up front that can hurt you, but now you're going to have Spurgeon, Brodin, and Dumba carrying a lot of that weight that's left behind from Ryan Suter.
No, I guess the bright side to look at for Anaheim is that Minnesota's 17-19-2 on the road. Yeah. Ultra dangerous at home, 26-6-8. But they have a road record that's not favorable for them, and they're heading into Anaheim. And Anaheim's been killing it at home. I mean, they're 24-10-5 this season. So maybe a little home ice advantage, maybe having their top defenseman out of the lineup will secure Anaheim another 2 points and put them, I mean, would that clinch? I'm putting on the spot for math. I'm terrible at math. But I believe that gets them right there, if not clinching them. If somebody in the chat is smarter than us or wants to chime in, let us know. But I feel like this is an easier game than what we originally expected from a game against Minnesota. I feel like they're going to win it out. Do you?
Got Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you look at the teams that Minnesota has coming up. They've got Edmonton, Anaheim, LA, San Jose. It's going to be tough for them to win out. I think they're going to get in, but because they're sitting 3 points up on Colorado and 4 points up on St. Louis, so they're pretty much in, barring a collapse. But those are some tough teams to face. I mean, you've got to face Anaheim, LA, and San Jose, who are all fighting to get in, essentially. I mean, San Jose's got a pretty comfy cushion, but don't look now. The Ducks are only 4 points behind them with 3 games remaining. If San Jose doesn't play well, the Ducks could sneak up there and grab home ice. So it's going to be a tough schedule for Minnesota.
So, I mean, if Jesus, the regular season ended today, I don't know why it's a thing. The Ducks would be playing the San Jose Sharks. Is that something that you'd be looking forward to? Are you still afraid of them as much as we were talking about last time?
Yeah, I don't think much changed. I mean, all of a sudden they've lost 3 games in a row, but they played St. Louis, Nashville, and Vegas. So, you take that how you will. Those are 3 very good teams, and St. Louis was rolling at the time they beat the Sharks. But, I'm still worried. But I still think it's probably the best matchup. I don't think the Ducks match up well with the speed that Vegas brings. I don't think they match up, or anybody really matches up well against Nashville, who just added Eli Tolvanen if they didn't have enough talented forwards up front. So I would still
beat Tampa.
Yeah, easily without Pecorine in the lineup too. Paul Campbell's boy Juicy Saros came out with a strong performance tonight. So they're just unbelievable. I don't want to face them at all. So I feel like San Jose is probably the ideal option. I feel like a lot of things can go wrong for that team. They were playing so well, but the goaltending I feel like is always an issue for them because Martin Jones is a good goaltender when he's on, but he has a little bit of inconsistency where sometimes he just disappears. And that blue line, other than Brent Burns, is pretty suspect. You've got Marc-Edouard Vlasic, who's a pretty steady guy, but then from there it kind of drops off. So I would still rather face them over, obviously, the 2 best teams in the Western Conference.
How about our old boy, Wild Bill Karlsson, with the between-the-legs breakaway shorthanded goal against the San Jose Sharks last night?
Jeez.
I was just blown away by that. The balls on that guy to do that. And then as you commented back to me, didn't even care. Wasn't laughing about it on the bench. Wasn't joking about it like, holy hell, how did I pull that off? That dude is just full of confidence in this league.
Yeah, and he goes back to the bench and he's just like, whatever, I do this every day. I mean, this is a guy who scored 6 goals in 82 games last year. He's up to 42, and that goal was arguably goal of the year. I mean, it was just nasty in a tied game against the San Jose Sharks, and you're pulling it out short-handed. You're just pulling out the moves. I mean, the normal guy would go just to the backhand or try and fake him out and just try and take a shot. But I can't believe it, man. I had missed it originally, and I just saw Twitter exploding. About William Karlsson, how could he pull that off? How could you have the balls to do that in a game that's tied 2-2? I can't believe it. I mean, nobody expected when the Ducks traded him, or even when Columbus let him go, that he was going to have this kind of season. It's just been unbelievable. I mean, he's sitting 3 goals behind Alex Ovechkin for the Rocket Richard Trophy. Nobody thought that was coming.
He totally read that poke check by Jones. Jones kind of choked up, and the second he saw the choke up, he's like, I gotta go tweeners. Puts puck to his own legs and flips. He didn't even just chip it. He roofed that over Jones.
With authority,
just a hell of a goal, man. Yeah. That's enough about Vegas, because that was the only thing I loved about them this season. But just because they're so damn dangerous against Anaheim. Let's get to our post-game questions. Where do you want to hit first?
We'll hit Twitter first, because I hate having to scroll through there, to be honest, and then we'll hit the chat up, because there's been a lot of questions in the chat, so we're going to have to do some scrolling after this, because I think there's a question leading all the way up to the beginning couple seconds we had in the chat. So we'll start with Regis's question on Twitter. It's kind of a statement. I mean, we always have these, but he said Kessler hurt the team in the last 2 games by giveaways, is what he says here. He says giving direct passes to the other team. Do you find his presence to be really important? Because he seems that it's more disturbing than helping at this point.
I mean, I guess you get the good with the bad. He's definitely not had his best season. We all know he's coming back from major hip surgery. That had a bone fragment. He's had to learn how to walk and skate properly again. We've all known that story. I'm not trying to cut excuses on his play so much as you got to give him time to come back to himself. He's been burned in some situations too. I mean, just based on skating ability right now. But as for, those giveaways, I mean, when a guy is on the ice the majority of the time against the opposing team's top players, it just happens. I mean, if you look at the top giveaway guys in the NHL every single year, it's guys like Brent Burns, it's guys like PK Subban, it's guys with the puck. The guys who have the puck give it up a lot. It's just the way it goes because they also have the puck and are creating chances as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is a bit harsh on Ryan Kesler because I don't think he's been that bad. I mean, this line has arguably been the Ducks' best line over the last 2 games, and he's saying the last 2 games here, so obviously we're referring to the LA game and this game tonight. I thought he's looked pretty good. Honestly, I thought he's been one of the better forwards for the Ducks, and obviously shutting down the top line in the Kings, where he shut down Kopitar Brown and Tanner Pearson. This night, he was tasked with shutting down Nathan McKinnon, and I feel like he did a good job. I didn't see too many giveaways that led to any chances. Obviously, there was no giveaways, if I'm just remembering off the top of my head, that led to any goals. So I can't say it's disturbing. I feel like he does have a presence on this team, and he is a really important part.
No, I mean, and then he had the other team's top line withheld to only 6 shots tonight, 5-on-5.
Yeah.
So good on him. And his line was extremely dominant tonight. I didn't see any problems in his game. But like I said, I understand when you see the puck get turned over by a player, you're like, what the hell? Why would you do that? But like I just said, it just happens when your guys out there against top competition, night in, night out. They're going to have games like that. But I agree with you. Overall, his game was pretty damn close to complete. He caps it off with a goal in this one too, a much needed goal that tied the game up. So I would have to feel like that criticism against Kesler was a little much, but yeah. I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, no, I get it. Let's move into the chat here. We'll go back all the way to the beginning because Richard opened the chat with a question. So
where the hell is Patrick's voice? I don't hear him. Is that the first one?
No, those came right after. But he said, so how do we make the playoffs or get out of the first round if Gibson or Fowler is seriously hurt?
Oh boy,
it's a tough
that's
one.
a tough one. That's because we don't know who's going to be slotting in for Fowler. It's a bit easier to comment about Ryan Miller. He's capable, but he's not built to be playing at his age, night in or every other night or back to backs consistently in playoff style hockey.
Yeah.
Sure, he could do it for a little bit, but I feel like eventually he would have to let up. He's just not John Gibson. I mean, there was a point in his career where he was, if not better than John Gibson, but just right now it's not why he's on this team. When it comes to Fowler, I don't know. That's a scary injury. If it's long term, that's scary because then you're going to be relying on another young guy coming up, or you're going to put Bieksa in, and that's scary to me too. I feel like if they get the matchup against the Sharks, that they think they can still beat the Sharks with Ryan Miller. I'm not so sure without Cam Fowler's skating ability and the way he's been playing with Brandon Montour. That's tough. I don't know if they get out of a first round without Cam Fowler.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty much what I was going to say. Is I think they can probably squeak through a matchup against San Jose without John Gibson. It's make it extremely tough because of the way John Gibson has played. But I think if Ryan Miller can string together a couple strong games, I think with a fully healthy team other than him, they can get out. But going any further, when you have to play Vegas possibly in the next round, and then looking further, playing Winnipeg or Nashville, if Gibson's not back by then, you're going to really feel the weight of his loss. But Cam Fowler, I think, is the most interesting one because he's a guy that eats so many minutes for the Ducks. He's the guy who plays the most every night. It's such a tough guy to fill. I mean, you're going to have Lindholm and Montour who pick up more minutes, and then it really is who fills his spot, and nobody can really fill it better than he can. And you're going to have Holzer, Walensky, Jakob Larsson, if we're lucky, come up and fill that hole. I think it's just too much for the Ducks to overcome, especially both of them together. And it's not to say that they couldn't get out of the first round, but having those two guys out, and obviously we don't know at this point, but it would make it that much harder.
I mean, look, you can hide a young player as a forward on your third or fourth line because you don't really have to play them 3, 4, 5 minutes. It's hard to hide and to replace a top pairing defenseman or even a top forward pairing defenseman. Cam Fowler missed all of overtime and still led the team in time on ice at 25 minutes and 40 seconds tonight. That's tough. And I mean, I have a lot of faith in Ryan Miller, so I know he can pull out the wins. I'm not trying to slight San Jose. I know they're dangerous as hell. But missing both, I don't think they get out of the first round.
No, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I kind of have to agree with you at that point. I think it's just too big of a loss to have both of them out of the lineup. I think if you had one, you could probably get out of it. And SPN brings it up in the chat too. He says you can hide it until the Pavelski line gets on the ice. and they victimize whoever's out there with Brendan Montour, whether it's Boschman, Pedersen, whoever. You know that you could probably play the lion's share minutes of Manson and Lindholm against that line, but San Jose would likely have home ice advantage. A lot of times you're going to get that